What's up, guys? Are you in a trauma bonded relationship? Do you have questions about, is this person really love me? Or are they capable of loving me? Here in today's video, we'll find out about is a trauma bond love? Can a trauma bond be love? Can a trauma bonded relationship eventually become a loving one? I got some sad news for you guys. I'm a guy on the internet with a shirt on my head, so don't take this too serious. But in my experience, to have a trauma bonded relationship to the extent that you're in one, let's say it's locked in 100% trauma bond, 100 out of 100 trauma bond, I am under the impression that it can never be love. I'll explain why. It's a spectrum, though. Everything's a spectrum. Lots of things are a spectrum. Nothing is black and white, especially when talking about human beings. It's very rarely black and white. But let's assume it's a real deep trauma bond. To the extent that you're in one, it can't be love. Here's why. Trauma bond is a pseudonym for basically toxic, right? You're not pseudonym, but it's a proxy. It's a thing. It's close. It's nearby. It's a cousin. And to the extent that you're trauma bonded, the extent that you're in a trauma bond, it would be based off of your childhood, right? So let's say you're a codependent. You're both probably codependents. You're let's say one side's narcissistic, one side's people pleaser. It's everything that toxicity can be, right? You could only have love in that relationship in the way that a sociopath could pretend to care. In other words, I even at the obviously nothing's all, but again, we're talking about the extremes here. Just talking about trauma bonds. You would have to pretend to be healthy. In other words, everything that your relationship is based on is unhealthy. Your connection to that person is based off of unhealthy attachment. And so I would argue that it is impossible, even at the extremes, it is literally impossible, but even in the median area of a trauma bonded relationship, like the average trauma bond, if it is even if you could call it a trauma bond, these things aren't, a blood test. But the notion, the definition of trauma bonding, right, is that you're basing your relationship off of childhood wounds. And I would say that to the extent that it is a trauma bond, it cannot ever be love until you heal those wounds. And the sooner you figure that out, the better, because the less pain you're going to have to feel. But it's like a psychedelic trip. Love is a psychedelic trip, i.e., there are no bad trips. You are in a 10-year relationship with somebody and they almost kill you, almost die, like you are broken to pieces from it. That was the source's will. That was the way it was meant to be. And if that's not the case, a more pagan way to put it would be to say that the more broken to pieces you are, the more learning that will be achieved. Just don't be too much like Icarus and fly right into that fucking sun, because you don't want to, check out the afterlife too prematurely. That is the will of Satan, and you don't want to do that. Not to be a huge religious dork, but just these concepts, I don't know. There's no better word than source and Satan. Source and evil. Let's call it evil. You don't want to off yourself. You don't fly too close to the sun, but you will learn more the more broken you become. And just know you're not alone. And if it's getting rough out there, I've been there about a year in. And if you want to know more, or you have anything to add, comment. Trauma Bond. It's a lot of fun. It's probably the best time. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean. And and that can be it's just so stimulating and fun and crazy, and life's not a reality TV show. It doesn't need to be. It shouldn't be. It's drama, less drama. Yeah, it's it's a lot of fun, but yeah, just know that it's not love. It's not. It can't be love. And you got to heal those wounds. They got to get healed one way or another. It's like balding. You want to do it all at once or you want to do it slowly over time. I'm in the right at once. Let's do it all at once. Get it done. 24. Boom. You don't want to be 30 fucking. You don't want to be 45 years old and shaving the trauma bond off. You want to break that down early. Well, you can do whatever you want, but it's I'm a glutton for punishment. What can I say? But anyway, that's the end of this video. Can a trauma bond ever become a loving relationship? Probably not. In the same way that, getting to bed a little too early can set a precedent for unhealthy or unsustainable or whatever. Nothing's all, no, everything's a spectrum, but there are certain things that just work. And I think more people need to talk about in society because we're in upside down land. Woo! Upside down land. Woo! And, yeah, people need to talk about common sense stuff. So don't date toxic people. If you get in a toxic relationship, just know it's not love. It's a lot of fun, but some person might get out easier than the other one. Usually the dude's gonna be, we can't just go monkey branch like ladies often. Our hearts go kerplunk. And now I'm rambling. But yeah, don't be in a trauma bonded relationship. It's not worth it. And if you're in one, get out and no, it's not love. And that should give you some semblance, if that's the right word, of your pain. In other words, it should justify your pain. In other words, it should, what's the word? Add catharsis. Catharsis? Humbling? No, it should be somewhat cathartic. It should be somewhat, you can rest easier knowing that the pain you experience after a trauma bond relationship, which are the worst, because that, what goes up must come down. Those highs leave even lower lows. And that, yeah, that goes for drugs, and love is a drug, and you mix them both. Good luck with that one. Good luck with that one. And yeah, so what was my last point? Anyway, trauma bond is not love. Don't do it. Heal yourself first. All right, guys, I love you. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.